Yo, Joe.
What's up, Roscoe?
I want to ask you, man. How was your foray into paganism? I mean, excuse me. How was your Valentine's Day?
Um, I don't know. It was pretty uneventful. I hung out with family, hung out with a friend of mine.
Mhm.
Other than that, I kind of used the day to kind of meditate on what it means to be satisfied and have satisfaction, especially on a day like today.
Right,
Um,
right.
One of the things that crosses my mind is when you think about Valentine's Day, it's supposed to be a day for lovers.
Mhm.
But after all the flowers are starting to wither, after all the champagne has been drank, after all the love has been made, the nasty, kinky love, you know, after the candy and the exchanges of gifts, you have to wonder, are these people really, truly satisfied with their situation? And so that's what I was kind of thinking about. What about you? How did you spend your day?
I spent it jerking off. No, let me stop. No, seriously, man. Yeah, it was just another day for me. I think I went to work and that was it, man. But yeah, just another day in the park for me, man. I don't have a boo. You know what I mean? No, nobody. Everybody think I'm ugly today or something. So,
Yeah, I hear that, man. You know, when it comes to satisfaction, one of the things that comes to my mind is the movie The Matrix.
mm,
Um, Matrix Reloaded, as a matter of fact. There's
yeah,
this scene, and I know you're familiar with it, but for the sake of conversation, when Monica Bellucci is talking to Neo and Trinity and Morpheus,
right.
she's actually envious of the love that Neo has for Trinity and vice versa. So much so that she asks Neo to give her a kiss, but not just any kiss. The kiss has to feel like he's kissing Trinity. And it's so funny because there's so much jealousy and envy in that scene. If you remember,
Right.
Trinity pulls her 9 mil out, her Beretta, and threatens to shoot Monica and tells her, you know, you can get some satisfaction from these slugs. But
Yeah.
Monica also sits up here and tells Trinity that she envies her because such a good thing cannot last. And in that moment, you can see she's not satisfied with how her life is. What's your take on that scene?
My take on that scene is pretty much kind of the same take, I guess. Yeah, I see somebody who's just not who's very who's very removed from the emotion of what used to be, as far as her situation goes with the person that she's dealing with. But yeah, they don't experience the love and affection and all those things that apparently uh, Neo and Trinity had going on. So yeah, she just wanted to feel that same kind of thing, and that's pretty much what I took from that. Just somebody who is kind of in a drum state, kind of a dull state right now, as far as her situation, and just wanted to feel alive again.
True that, true that. But I wanted to ask you a question though.
Hmm.
On a day like Valentine's Day, and we've already talked about, you know, all the flair that goes into a day like today, and for both men and women, because I think that it's bilateral when it comes to the relationship.
Right.
Once you've bought the flowers, the candy, the teddy bears, the champagne, the fancy hotel room, had the nice little bubble bath together, the nasty, naughty love making.
Mhm.
Does this day, in your opinion, build up future relationship equity? Like, do you think that satisfaction can be acquired on a day like today, but in the mind and the heart of the participants of this day. Do you think that it builds relationship equity? Let me get your take on that.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be honest, and uh, you have days like Valentine's Day, and like you said, everybody's going all out to satisfy their mate, and that's great and everything. But a lot of these people will forget all of this stuff once this day is over with, and I don't think that it builds up any equity. It would be nice to think that you splurge and go all out and do all these nice things for this person, and let's say that you somewhere down the road you have some type of screw up in the relationship. You just make a some type of slight faux pas, and that person on the other end, they could think back to, oh yeah, this is the same person that treated me out to this excellent night, and we went horseback riding in on the sands, or we had a great dinner. We drank champagne from a rooftop, and you do go and do all these crazy things. I put rose petals in the bed, with the wine bucket next to it, and you do all this great stuff, and soon as that day is over with, people will forget about that stuff. So no, I don't think that equity is built off of these situations, because people are just forgetful, and they kind of don't care. People are never really satisfied. You know what I mean? Once you get that, it's like, what's next now? You know what I mean? They're looking for more instead of being satisfied with what they have and what they've gotten already. So yeah, satisfaction is not what I think comes from these situations.
It's interesting that you say that they're ready to move on, because I think about a couple of things come to my mind when you say that. I think of when Doves Cry by Prince, and when he says on the song, maybe I'm just like my mother, she's never satisfied. And that's saying a lot to say that she's never satisfied. Because the thing that I know about relationships, especially in the honeymoon phase, there's all these grand gestures of a man trying to prove himself to a woman. But for the son to get to a point, because he's literally singing about his mother, for the son to get to a point to say she's never satisfied, I think you're right. I think all those grand gestures were out the window at that point. Can't say what brought that relationship to what it was, whether it was an abusive or not. But to say that in a lyric that's very penetrating, very deep, but it causes me to think of another song by the Isley Brothers, Footsteps in the Dark. But when the song opens up, Ron Isley, he literally says, are we really sure? Can a love that lasted for so long still endure? Do I really care? Hey, hey, let's talk about the distractions going on elsewhere. So what are these distractions, you might ask? But he goes on to say, I keep hearing footsteps, baby, in the dark, in the dark. Why? I keep hearing footsteps, baby, in the dark, in the dark. So he's clearly with a woman who's not satisfied. If you have to ask, can a love that lasted for so long still endure? It's probably not even any love there anymore.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Endurance is something that you have to bear under the pressure. And I know there are hardships in a relationship. However, when we're talking about satisfaction, it's clear that this woman is not satisfied. And he's talking about these footsteps in the dark. But I'm wondering, is this her coming back in the house because she thinks he's asleep? Or is this her creeping out of the house because she thinks he's asleep? I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, really doesn't matter either way, because either way, she's a nefarious. It's a nefarious act going on anyway. Assumed anyway. So yeah, either way it goes, she's gonna look bad in that situation. But yeah, is people aren't satisfied and people aren't built to last. Um, like kind of like you were alluding to, so um you can we like we've said, about all the grand gestures and all these big things that people go all out in doing, and you still have an unsatisfied partner on the other end, because the reality is that people will always look for more. You know what I mean? It's rare when you run into a person who actually takes what you're giving them and is actually satisfied and says, you know what, I'm good with this. You don't have to go above and beyond with me. I'm accepting of this as a great gesture. I'm appreciative of this, and take it as that. And those are the people who probably, when you do give them or do these good gestures for them, those are the people that probably you're building up equity with. So I believe that it's possible, with some few people, because there are a few decent people still. But yeah, for the most part, I just think that it's just hard to satisfy people. And when we talk about the opposite sex, I mean, yeah, with women, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I know that there are a lot of men who aren't satisfied. Men who aren't satisfied, they destroy the planet. They keep digging for diamonds, even though they have plenty of diamonds in vaults all over the place. They have oil that'll last for hundreds of years. They have everything they could ever want as far as a natural resource is concerned.
Yeah.
However, they continue to dig and destroy the planet. However, this all brings me to one of Grimm's fairy tales. You ever heard of the fisherman's wife?
Yes. Yes, I have.
I,
Through
I
you.
huh?
Through you. But yeah, I have.
I'm going to put a link to that story in the description box for this video. However, I
Yeah.
found it interesting that in that fairy tale, the fish that the fisherman goes to talk to, he's not just a regular fish. He's actually a prince that's been turned into a fish. He's been enchanted with a spell or a curse, however you want to look at it. However, when the fisherman goes to this fish, he finds out that the fish has the ability to grant wishes. As the fisherman goes back and forth to his wife and to the fish, the wife keeps asking for more because she's not satisfied. They're living in a humble hut, which was more than adequate, but she asks for a little cottage, then it goes to a house, then a castle. But she wasn't just satisfied with the living. Now she turned the wishes personal to the point where she wanted to have status. She was using that fish to clout chase. She wanted to be a king, and then the king wasn't good enough. She wanted to be emperor when the emperor wasn't good enough. She becomes the dang on pope, and then she asks for the wish of all wishes. She asks to become God, and then she goes right back to where she was in the very beginning. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot to be said when it comes to satisfaction. Even the Rolling Stones wrote about it, sang about it, I should say.
Yeah.
Mick Jackson.
You know what's so
satisfaction?
You know what's so funny when you bring that up, dude, is that you just reminded me of like a funny story / joke that I actually want to pull up that very much speaks to it. It reminds me so much of that fisherman story, but it speaks to satisfaction or the lack thereof.
Okay.
And I'm gonna pull this up right quick.
Okay.
Let me. All right. Here we go. The husband and wife store. All right. Yeah. So first we're gonna start. I'm just gonna cover the husband story, because I think this is real interesting. First of all, I want to say that with the husband story here, We have 6 floors for the husband store, and we have 2 for the wife store. So that's interesting. But let's go through. All right, let's start with this story. All right, the husband store, a store that sells new husbands that's just opened in New York City, where a woman may go to choose a husband. Among the instructions at the entrance is a description of how the store operates. You may visit the store only once.
Mm.
There are 6 floors, and the attributes of the men increase as the shopper ascends the flights.
Okay.
There is, however, a catch. You may choose any man from a particular floor, or you may choose to go up a floor, but you cannot go back down except to exit the building. All
Mm.
right, so we got the rules covered. All
Right.
right, so a woman goes to the husband store to find a husband. On each floor, the signs on the doors read, "Floor number 1, these men have jobs." Floor number 2, "These men have jobs and love kids." All right,
Okay.
so I'm assuming you can imagine the woman. She's browsing through the store, and we're talking about satisfaction now.
Right.
So floor 1, these men have jobs.
Mm.
You know what I mean? A lot of women complain about that. Floor number 2, these men have jobs and they love kids. Floor number 3, these men have jobs, love kids, and are extremely good looking. Floor number 4, these men have jobs, love kids, and are drop dead looking, drop dead gorgeous, whatever the hell, and help with the housework.
Mm.
Floor number 5, these men have jobs, love kids, drop dead gorgeous, help with the housework, and have a strong romantic streak. All right. All right. In the story, it says that by this point, she is so tempted to stay, but she goes on to the 6th floor, and the sign reads, all right, you are a visitor. She's on floor 6. You are a visitor. All right, let me get this number right, because this is a huge number. You know what I mean? All right, this is 3 billion
Wow.
261,496,012 people have visited this floor. There are no men on this floor. The floor exists solely to prove that women are impossible to please. Thank you for shopping at the husband store.
That's too
You
funny.
know.
What happened on the wife's side?
All right, let's go to the white store. Two floors. 2 floors. All right. Floor number 1 has wives that love sex. Floor number 2 has wives that love sex and have money. You know, wait. Actually, there's actually 6 floors to the white store too, but
Okay.
those floors have never been visited ever.
So the other four floors have never been visited.
Yeah, yeah. 3 through 6 have never been. They
Right,
have
right.
never been visited. That's how the joke goes. Even though there's a 3 through 6 for the white store, but no, but it just goes to show. And I didn't go through the joke all the way because just for time's sake. But
Right.
it just goes to show, when you talk about this joke, and it's in jest and everything, but for the most part, there's a lot of truth in this, because you have a lot of women who you go through all of this stuff, and you run through men who they like kids, they have decent jobs, and those things, women still find ways to not be satisfied with those things. Well, he's not good looking enough. Well, how about you run into a dude that has that and that, but yeah, still not satisfied. But it's just one of those things. You know what I mean? I'm not sure why the imbalance is the way it is, or seems to be how it is, but um we have it.
We have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have just a lot of unsatisfied people, regardless of how much attention to detail that you try to give to this person. So
Right. Yeah, I guess it really does boil down to satisfaction and happiness is an individual responsibility. It's never going to be something outside of the self, no matter how many fancy dinners, fancy trips, uh, the way a person looks, because there's a whole bunch of people with good looking mates and they're just not happy. Angelina and Brad come to mind. They're what the Western world considers the epitome of beauty on both ends. However, when it comes down to this satisfaction stuff, I think a little appreciation for the people that we're with. We should be building equity with one another with kind acts, with acts of sacrifice. We should really look at the other person with the most sincere and utmost empathy. And that way, when we do hit those bumps in the road, instead of looking to jettison the relationship and look for something that we think is better, I guess this goes back to the 80-20 rule. Satisfaction guaranteed. Um, with that being said, did you have any shout outs, bro?
No, I just want to give a shout out to all of the Warheads on the Facebook page. A lot of where there's been people who've been contributing some stories and stuff like that, and we plan on actually covering some of those. So just keep on, sharing the stories, and come on over to YouTube and like the videos. I see y'all been doing y'all thing over there, but we need y'all over here to come over here to YouTube and like this stuff and share this stuff and subscribe or do all that stuff. So that's all I want to say.
Yeah, I just want to give a commendation to the men and women who know how to stay satisfied with their relationships and love on their mates and their spouses, even through the bad times when it seems difficult. Other than that, like Roscoe said, like, share, comment, subscribe, and come join the movement of the Warheads. Warheads out.